Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Oliver Phil. This is my second video following up what I kind of considered my introduction video. Just a little bit about me, kind of some of the things we do, and some of the stuff. Try to show you some of the equipment that I had. Excuse me. Today we're going to get right into it. Working on these set of 6 injectors out of an International 686. It has the 312 diesel in it. These are a Standardine injector. Definitely going to be very many other tractors and models that are similar to these, especially in the antique world. Not too terrible to do. These have already been ultrasonic cleaned. I run them through sometimes multiple different cycles on different frequencies. Got them cleaned out, and in here we have some fresh diesel fuel. I have brand new nozzles. This is how they come from our supplier. Have some of them already soaking in the diesel fuel. I like to do that. Again, this is how I do it. This definitely may not be how everyone does it, but it's definitely worked for me many times over. So let's get started. I'll kind of probably maybe go through the process of one with you, and then I'll finish getting them all rebuilt, and then we'll bring you back for when we pop test them. So let me get started here. So first thing is I have the clean body, and what I want to do is on the back side of the spring that goes in the body is where we have shims, and that is where you'll have all different types of shims, different thicknesses. We have some new ones here in case we need them. They call them spacers, but ultimately different, like there's 3,000ths, 4,000ths, 6,000ths. So what we'll do is we'll use a micrometer to get us close. I kept one stack of these that came out of one of the injectors together, and I measure them to get a point of reference when going back together. These all pop tested at about 3,500 psi. And the spec on these is 3,600 to 3,750. So they were close. We did have one failed injector out of the group that would just leak the entire time, which would cause that tractor to load up and could have some wet stacking and some smoking at different times. So that was the main complaint. So what we'll do here is I'll take this first shim pack that I took out and kept while the other ones went into the bath, and I will check it to get a point of reference. And right here we're at 115 thousandths. So all 3 of these shims were at 115 thousandths. What I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and assemble one injector and pop test it and see if that gets us close, because if I can get one close, I will measure shim pack and put that into the next injector to hopefully get me close without having to do a lot of trial and error on shims. It can be a very lengthy, tedious process of measuring. You have to install all the body, injector body components together, put it in the pop tester, check it, and then tear the whole thing back apart to adjust the shims, or the spacers as they call it, and do it all over again until you get them right. Then we want to get them all right. I don't like to see more than 100 psi difference between any individual injector. And then I always shoot for the higher range. I'm going to shoot for that 3750. Definitely will help that tractor run a lot better. So let's get rolling here. So 115 thousandths. So that would go behind the spring, which these need to be, there's a lot of things you look at, but they need to just drop in without any resistance. We got to make sure they're in there. and they just kind of go down. I don't know if you can see that very well. They just kind of go down into the body. And then we have our spring. And then on the front, over here, it's kind of like the head of the spring that contacts the disc that goes before the nozzle. And it kind of looks like that. I don't know if you can see it or not. But it has a guide that goes in that spring. Rides in there just like that. And then on the end of the body here, we have 3 holes. 1, 2, 3. And this is the fuel delivery hole, and these 2 holes are in alignment for the next component of the injector. Has 2 roll pins, and what that does is you have to line up the 2 alignment holes with the fuel delivery hole. So it'll go in like that, and you got to make sure that the delivery hole is in the right location, corresponds with the other hole, because if you were to flip it, you're going to find out real quick that would not work in the, especially if you had to force it. You'd have to force it if you flipped it, because they're kind of offset a little bit. So you just want to make sure. There are some that are a little harder to mess with, that the delivery hole is important. So we will go ahead and get this put together. I have nozzle retainer. This will go over the new nozzle, and that is what threads into place and holds that still. So we got a brand new one here, and we'll slide that in. See, again, you're looking for all these components to move freely. Nothing should be going together hard. You shouldn't have to force anything. Another thing to look for is on the corresponding holes on top of the nozzle. Same thing, 3 holes, center pin, which is what contacts that spring and fires the injector. So you have the delivery holes, 2 alignments and a delivery hole, and those would go together. And we would start those in there. And they kind of just start in like so. So now we kind of have the body assembled, and you'll bring your, what I call the little nozzle cup retainer, and you start threading that on there. And the torque spec on these are 35 to 40 foot-pounds. I get them just good and snug for the initial test, and then when I get them all done and the pressures are where I want them, I will take this cap off again, dry the threads off, do a tiny little bit of blue Loctite, thread them back on, and do the final torque. And then I'll even go as far as pop testing them one more time. So let me get this one snugged down, and I will get it set up in the pop tester so we can take a look at what that's going to look like. Alright, so I got that loose. Take this nozzle apart. Get our disc. Pop out the spring, and got to get your shim packs out of there and make sure they try to save them all. You don't want them to go flying. So we're at 115 thousandths. So let's see here what we got. Well, let's grab a razor blade here. Open these up. So what we'll do here, we were close. We were 3,100. I'd like to go at least another 600 psi. So let's measure this here. Again, it could be strenuous on the eyes because these things they're skinny. You're talking thousandths. I mean, most pieces of paper are about 3 thousandths thick. So we are at this looks to be a 10 thousandths. 10 thousandths. So we're going to add 10 thousandths to this pack, which should make it about 125. So let's see if that corresponds. Some things I can't do with these gloves on when they get in the way with these tiny shims. So let's see here. I try to wear gloves as much as possible, as far as nitrile gloves or something, because during the day I wash my hands 100 times and I just get tired of washing my hands, and it's easier to just have the gloves on, take them off, throw them away. So we are right at 120. So we're going to try 120 thousandths. I know my buddies at work, they like to call them bitch mittens, but I would prefer to not wash my hands 500 times. All right, so make sure we're lining everything up still. It's a lengthy, tedious process, but measuring gets you close on all the rest of them. All right, we will check this again. Bring that tester over. Put this in. See if we can't go again here. Oh, got a little bit of a leak there. So what we do is I take it over to the stand and tighten her up. Then we give her some pumps here. 5. Oh, there we go. So again, I'm not worried about the pattern. Everything's still looking good. Bring this pressure up 35. Right about 3,600 right here. Yeah, 3,600. We're definitely getting close there. I can see. Let's see what my thinnest shim is. And that one was a 10. Boy, it's real hard to tell when you get down to this size of thickness. Yeah, can't even tell what I'm holding there. Let's see here. There's a 5 thousandths. That's pretty thin. If I knew these part numbers, I wouldn't have to measure. I just know how thick they were. Can't even get them out of the bag. Let's see here. There's a 5. All right, so I measured and found my thinnest shim is a 3 thousandths. So I'm going to put that 3 thousandths in here, which I already did, and came up with ultimately that one was 123 thousandths total. And let's give it a try and see how close we get to our goal. So like I said, I'm shooting for that 3,700. And then we'll try to get the rest of them all no more than about 3% is what I like to shoot for. It'd be no more than 110 apart when you do the math there. And let's see here. 35, 37. 35, 36, 37. Right there, 37. That's right where I want to be. And then the other spec that they tell you to look for on this particular application is when holding at 100 psi under the pop pressure, so in this case 3600 psi, it should not lose 35, 36, so I gotta catch it here. It should not lose. It's tough to get it right where you want it. It's tough to get it right there. 35, 36. There it is, holding at 3600. Let me verify. Yes, it should not lose more than let me check that spec again. All right, so sitting at 3600 psi, locked in with this knob here. We look at the nozzle, and it should not lose any fluid from the injector holes. And I think it gives 10 seconds. And we're still staying strong. We have a little bit coming out our return from earlier when we tested, but that's normal. So we're pretty good. So we are ready. We got an idea with our shims. Sitting at 3700 on this first injector at 123 thousandths on our shim pack. So what I'll use is I'll use that as a reference, and I'm going to go down through the rest of these injectors, and then I'll bring you back for the last process. Thank you. Alright, so I got all the injectors done. You get to luckily skip past all that time and measuring, but so what I do is I take a completed injector, and I'm going to remove the nozzle again. So I take my socket, it's pretty simple. I end up removing the nozzle that I got set up here. So I remove this again. It's a lot of redundant checking. And then what I like to do, like I said, we got our finished little bit of brake clean on there. I put just a dab of blue Loctite. Then I make sure everything's lined up. One last time, I usually hope. Do a little test. Run her down. And then the spec on this was 35 to 40 foot-pounds. I will do 38. Alright, so now I got it torqued, and we'll check it again. Make sure our pressure didn't change. right there at 3,700 PSI. And I will go take it to 36, and I will take it to 3,600. Leave it set. So now I'm at 3,600. All right, take a look at the nozzle here. Still holding. And actually, I double checked that spec. It was 5 seconds, so 10 is definitely a good one. And we're still holding with no drips. So back that pressure back off. And that's the process. I will continue to do that last step with the last 5 injectors. And then we will get these all bagged up and back to the customer. Just wanted to make sure you guys kind of saw the process of what we do when it comes to this style injector. And as always, like I said, this is my second video. Hope many more to come. If you can like and subscribe, that'll definitely help out my channel so I can keep getting these videos out there, and I appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.